step-by-step guide to write a good research paper. I, Saloni Sharma, extend a heartfelt welcome on behalf of Research Foundation of India. Today, we are honored to be graced by the presence of Dr. Shrestha Chhabra sir, an esteemed authority in our midst. Before we delve into the session, allow me to offer a brief overview of Dr. Chabra's illustrations background and expertise. Dr. Chabra sir holds a PhD degree in labor welfare. He has a teaching experience of almost 21 years, wherein he taught at undergraduate, postgraduate, executive program, PhD coursework level, and guided research projects. In his present assignment, he is associate professor with Delhi College Business School, Indore. He has published in national and international journals, conferences, and dailies. He is associated as reviewer with Global Journal of Labor, University of Delhi, Balloons Research Park, USA, and International Resource Management Research, Indonesia. International Journal of Science and Management Studies, Universal Journal of Business and Management, USA, and International Journal of Academic Research and Development. He is working as a mentor with Startup India, a Government of India platform for nurturing entrepreneurship, backed by Government of Chhattisgarh and as coordinator, Indore Zone, Research Foundation of India, and member of Asia Research News, IFERP and INSC. He has been session chair in national and international conferences. He has conducted MDPS for IMA, MSME, State Electricity Board, Police, and other corporate as well. Rotary Club, Amity Business School, EMG, SSM Trust, and Institute of Scholars have recognized his efforts and contributions. With these remarkable credentials, I humbly invite Dr. Chabra sir to grace us with his presence and share his insights on understanding ethical issues and plagiarism. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Saloni ma'am. Thank you very much for your kind words of introduction. And good evening, all my colleagues who are present
Thank
here
you.
today evening. uh, uh, so, without any further delays, I start. I'm pretty sure we have interacted, on the day two also. When we talked about, I can see Subramaniam Iyer sir on my screen and many other known names whom I have interacted already on uh, day two. So, as I told you earlier, also, I would be talking to you on two lines, or rather three lines. One, my experience with Indian University when it comes to plagiarism. Two, my experience with UK University, whom I've been introduced to plagiarism and concepts regarding this right from 2008-9. So, right from there, Turnitin has been a thing that I have been interacting with on a regular basis because of my university, parent university, De Montfort University. We are affiliated. We had a course affiliated to De Montfort. So we had, we are interacting with De Montfort on a regular basis. So, all of our assignments go through, plagiarism, check through Turnitin. So that is second. And third, then as as a reviewer, when I am associated with journals. So these three experiences I would be sharing with you. And remember one basic thing. When I would give you, during my course of presentation, I would be telling you that difference. Understand? Sorry, just 1 minute, please. See, understanding of plagiarism in the Indian universities and plagiarism in UK universities is wide difference. Let me start with this idea, and then we proceed. I've told this towards the concluding side of mine that we need to understand that how much percentage, what does exactly plagiarism means, and in what context it carries a meaning. Okay, so Let me start with this idea, and then I would share my screen, obviously, for the PPT that I have made. So give me a minute, please. Let me switch on that thing so that we can start with it. Okay. So as I was telling you, that plagiarism in the context, it means very different. Like, say, I give you, I start with the UK referencing, or UK pattern of ideas, and then I come to the Indian part of it. In UK, see, in India, strictly 10%. Okay, irrespective of what comprises of that 10%, irrespective of what comprises that 10%. In UK, understanding that 10% is a wide understanding. Say, why I say this. First thing, how much is the single source? Okay, we the highest penalty is bought into two or three things when it comes to UK. One, the single source plagiarism. How much you have derived from one source. So if that single source plagiarism is, say, beyond say 4% or so, then you are inviting trouble for you. Point number one. Point number two, if there is a student to student match, okay, like, say, uh, as I told you, we pick up a student assignment, and if there is a student to student match, irrespective that whether that was student is existing or a pass out student, a student to student match, you are in a serious problem. Okay, irrespective of whatever, obviously, student to student match, single source student to student match. Third, we look into that if there is a keyword match, like, say, you are doing an assignment on management, say, for example, then obviously you would be repeating this word management, or any keywords which already, which are a standard part of an assignment, that would be repeated over a number of times. So if that is repeated over a number of times, then uh, we ignore that. Okay, so while that's what I'm saying. While reading a plagiarism report, we have been, I should use this word, we have been taught this many ideas onto that thing, that what should be ignored, what should be taken into account. But that is obviously for the India, the UK part. I'm not getting into much details about it. I just wanted to give you an overview of that thing. But in Indian counterpart, when after UGC introduced the, so they have made up a strict idea that 10%, nothing beyond 10% is acceptable. Okay, so you should keep it as low as possible types, which is fairly okay. As I told you, you know, the rules of the place can be very different. So I'm no one to comment that whether this is right or that is right. Both are right in their own perspective, their own context in which they are placed. So please allow me to, with this basic, concept, and remember this concept, I would be using this uh, later on also. So let me share this thing. Okay. So is my screen visible? No, I believe not visible types. One second, please.
It's visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
But it is not, it's not showing the presentation.
Yeah,
It,
the
that
files,
one one
list
one
of
one
files
second,
only.
please. Yeah. One second, please. One second. Please give me 1 second. So as I was telling you, that the place has its own rules. So we need to respect those rules, and let's do it with that. Let's not argue that whether this is right, that is not right, or this idea is done, this idea is not done. Let's not argue onto that thing. Plagiarism, the place has its own rules. So let's respect those rules. And with that thing, I believe now am I able to show it? Yes, now it is. Okay. So let's kickstart with this idea. So you understand that that we need to be ethical, whether and most of the time, one more idea onto it. When I was looking on for something, something as a written type of thing that I can share as a PPT. Most of the thing when you talk about publication or research ethics and plagiarism and things like that, most of them, they have written widely on medical ideas, medical ethics, that how, subject should be. But it's not only that, it should be ethical during only medical researches or, pharma test or drug test. No, there are certain agreed upon principles which should be followed irrespective of the area that you are publishing for. Okay, so that is what it is that we would be, talking about. And the best way of understanding what is ethical is to understand what is not ethical. So probably you get that final line that, okay, if this is unethical or this is what I should be avoiding, that means the other part of it or counterpart of it would be ethical. So let's start with that. So what can be the issues? So probably this can be the issues. Okay, so let's take them one by one. That, you know so let's take them one by one. Have you obtained necessary approvals or have you obtained necessary consents? What I mean by this, what do I do is that, let's stick with this. Do the participant actually know that what is this data? What would that data mean? And what is the sole purpose of collecting this data? You may write on the questionnaire that, okay, this data is only used for, say, only for academic research purpose. Is it that true? Because later on, I would be talking about a concept of conflict of interest. Okay, that if there are conflict of interest, then how you have obtained the consent of the researcher. Okay, see, I tell you two of my experiences in this. At times, what happens that, you actually bribe. I should not use this word, but allow me to, I take this liberty from my learned colleagues to use this word bribe. At times you actually bribe your, um, researchers, or you bribe those respondents to get the data from them. And that can be any type of bribe. That can be a material bribe, that can be, just some people tell me that, Nani sir, it's not bribe, it's, it's just a token of appreciation for giving their time to us. It may be allowed in the West. Some people, in some other name, they do it. Okay. But remember that if you have obtained the consent due to some unfair means, okay, because that is something which is very critical. Okay. That have you actually told people, see, you are capturing when you are on the field, you actually capture many data. Have you actually, since you have got an abundant data with you, have you actually, are you only restricting? I have got some researchers with me. Uh, in the sense, with me means I have, observed certain researchers, and they have, uh, by the means of their research, they have got access to some data which they otherwise use. Not for black. I'm not using the word that they are blackmailing the company or the, the respondents. No, but they are using it otherwise. The research, they go beyond a certain point to, to say, to justify themselves. Okay, see, you are clicking a pic. You went on to certain factory and you're clicking up a pic. You're using it as a case study. So you're clicking a pic to, put it in exhibit. Have you actually obtained this permission? In what context are you picking up this, this image? Okay, in what context are you using this image? Probably that is that something which you have told to the participants. At times it's only the half told truth. Okay, at times. Okay, if the research is bit sensitive in nature, okay, you are trying to undercover certain facts. Okay, you're not doing those, repeated research types. So if that is so, you may click in pics just to say that, that, okay, this would be shown as this thing. But have you actually obtained that necessary permission from the people before clicking that pic, or have you actually told them that this is what the pic will be used for? At times, no. So that's what I'm saying. At times, the researchers come back to me and tell that, if we tell everything on the truth, on the face, they would not allow me. Come on, don't do this. Okay, you are befooling them, and then you are obtaining, and then if you are using that in publication tomorrow, you may be in problem. So please try and avoid that issue. Okay, we talk about two most important issues: falsification and fabrication. Okay, so what happens that uh, you know you want data to say something, okay, when that is not the way, that is fabrication of the data. Or you want to put in certain data which exist, which may not exist. And why do people do this fabrication or falsification? Because they want to conform to a certain norm, they want to conform to a certain research. Or it's just that they might have actually not done a research. Okay, they have got a very poor response rate, they have got a questionnaire that is not well made up of, there are many fallouts, there are many hiccups in the road of research. So in order to cover up those things, you are just trying to show the data or put in the data which is actually not the way it is. Okay, is it that you want to show, say you are doing, so, as I told you last time also, somebody was telling me that you have got an offer from the company that, okay, why don't you do research for us? Okay, so if you go and tell companies that there are problems, then the authority, or say might be your friend, may not like, who has proposed that research or helped you in that research. Because ultimately you want to, I would be, I would be talking it in a very bare language, so please don't mind my using that thing. Okay, see, your idea is just to get it published. Okay, but if the actual facts type comes up, as I told you, at times you never know that you may be putting up something which which actually brings in certain responses. I will be sharing some experiences with you, so which brings in some responses that may not be very welcomed by the person who has actually helped you in that thing. So say you are doing some research on employee motivation in a certain company, and some of the employee tells you very internal things. You're able to establish that trust with them, and they tell you actually very internal things. So if those things come out, or those things surface, uh, the HR manager, or someone would actually be, you would be jeopardizing their job, you would be putting their job in danger. So what happens then? Okay, so now you know the fact also. Now how to report that fact? So at times you may face that dilemma, and when you are faced with that dilemma, then only the question of ethics actually comes in play. Then only this idea of that, how things go, how things don't go, they come into picture. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, that uh, at times the real data is low. Okay, so you just want to increase that data. So what you do, you just you put in some data to make it that way, that okay, though it's a difficult task, but people do that. Okay. Any, if you have got any questions, you can ask me that. That should not be an issue with anything that you want to, or if you want to share your experiences, you can, please, you are most welcome to do that. Just raise your hand before doing so. Okay, so that I know that this is being done. Okay. So as I was talking about this thing, that you don't want to give. Okay, someone has raised the hand.
Good
Vivek
evening,
sir.
sir.
Good evening,
Good
Vivek
evening,
sir.
sir.
Please go ahead. Good evening. Good evening.
Sir, my question is this: this is the situation which you are describing here. Suppose we are going to study for the harassment of the mental harassment or physical harassment at the point of view job when we are doing the job. So, it
Okay.
is situation will be implement that when we are going to survey, doing the survey, how many females or how many males are reporting to that. This
Hmm.
situation is that which you are expressing on these points.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay.
Sir,
Please go ahead.
I just confirm it that this is the situation now which you are describing over here. For
See what
example,
happens. What happens, Vivek sir. Say for example, I take your question that you actually want to study that how many people or how many employees are actually feeling harassed, okay,
yes,
at the workplace. Okay, so we are talking
yes,
about workplace harassment, not only always physical. It can be mental harassment also. Okay,
yes, sir.
uh, and there can be two situations, Vivek sir. One, see, if you are going through your HR manager or some friend of yours who is working into that organization, okay, who is trying to facilitate you with this obtaining this data, okay, then there can be two outcomes of it. One, think about it that how many people would actually respond to that questionnaire, knowing that you have come through the channel. I hope you are getting my point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so people would just say, no, no, everything is okay. There is no harassment. There is nothing. That people don't speak up very easily. Please understand this thing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Second, if they speak up, that is what I was telling you. If they speak up the reality, okay, you may find one or two employees being very frustrated and they speak up that reality. Okay, then what would you do? If you report that, then the friend who actually got you this research can be in a problem. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so what should you do then? That's what my question is. That at times actually it happens that you are in a fix. That is where the dilemma situation arises for a researcher, that what you should do. That should you actually take up that data? You should
Yes,
actually report that data to management? Should you fabricate that data to say that no, there is some problem, but that problem is attributable to that reason? I hope you're doing it a mild treatment of that data. You're
mm,
fabricating that data to actually milder it down. Getting my point?
right, sir. Ji.
So that's what happens, Vivek sir, practically when you talk about fabrication and falsification. So I hope my context is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chal.
Thanks.
Anyone, any questions? Further questions? Okay, so we go ahead with this plagiarism. That how you are. It's simple in my understand it. In my idea, you are not trying to give credit to anyone. Okay, you're just trying to pull out the credits and just that probably things are working over there. So you're just trying to pull out the credit in your own name when you are actually not doing that. So that is what plagiarism is. So I would talk about self plagiarism later on. So, see, it can be a minor plagiarism, it can be a major copy, as I told you, that anything. See, it can be not a situation where it can be a zero plagiarism. Okay, that can be a really dangerous situation. If you are, if your university of, if your college does have a plagiarism software, okay, then, and if you are checking in students assignment through that software, it's highly advisable that if the work is showing zero plagiarism, please take that paper very seriously, because there may be chances, one, that people have put in some bypass to avoid that plagiarism check. I would tell you the bypass later. Or two, they have not actually referenced it. Okay, so it's a plain simple text. Okay. Third, you can talk about AI generated content, chat GPT and other type of generated contents. Some good softwares like Turnitin, they have got a specific section or they have got a specific service that they can check to some extent that if this content is generated by chat GPT. Okay, so probably if the software of anti-plagiarism that you are using is not trying to catch up that, or is not capable of catching up that AI generated content, can't help it types. Okay, there have been cases wherein you actually feel that this person cannot write the level of English which is written in this assignment, or the level of the assignment which is presented over here. It has been made by someone else and he has just put it into it. Can't help it types. Okay, so that's a different idea of corruption. I would talk that later. Okay, that even that can be avoided in case of students. Okay, in case of students, even that can be, you can put some checks on it. 100% you can't, but at least you can do something. So please remind me, I would talk that thing later, that what to do with student assignments if you feel that that say it has been taken up from some, lifted from chat gpt or something like that. You don't have an anti-plagiarism software which is so powerful that it catches up that thing. Or maybe you understand that that it's showing low plagiarism, but the language and the work is not attributable to the student. Student has got it made from somewhere else. So I would tell you, what can be done in that case also. So as I told you that it can be lower or higher type of plagiarism. Okay? So UGC has also time to time they provide those type of guidelines. COPE tries and looks into that guideline as well. So uh, so let me talk one thing and then I move on to that thing, that say self plagiarized. Okay, what can there be something as self plagiarized? Yes, there can be actually a thing called as self plagiarism. What you do with that, your earlier paper or your earlier work, and then through salami slicing or other techniques, I would be talking about that thing. So you pick up certain portion from that thing, maneuver some content here and there, and republish it. So that is where self plagiarism comes in the picture. Okay, but remember one thing, self plagiarism can be very accidental also. How? At times what happens that there are certain software available on web which tells you that okay, you can check plagiarism for free. Okay, and you may actually be caught up in that thing. How? Let me tell you, explain that thing. It- you can obviously, before final submission, you can check your plagiarism content. True, it should be checked. No harm in that. But please remember that the software that you are using to check that plagiarism content, okay, is a software which is allowing you to delete the file also from its say master folder or from its memory. Okay, it should allow you. If it is not, then you may be in a danger of getting self plagiarized, because the next time that you will be submitting the same file, Google may catch up that file. Okay, so that file would be sitting on some server. So your anti-plagiarism software, when it would be checking through those servers, they may catch up that file, and then you would be self-plagiarized for no fault of yours. Please understand, for no fault of yours. So next time when you are using a plagiarism, anti-plagiarism software, especially in case of your thesis, please be very careful that, see, in the paper it can be okay that you can change it, that thing. See, even in case of paper it is ridiculous, but even in case of paper it is manageable, given the length. In case of PhD, it would be a suicidal attempt to do this. Please don't do this. Okay, that using some anti-plagiarism software without proper authentication. What we do, many a times some authors would send it to me that, sir, at your end you have got Turnitin, so why don't you put it up? I have not put it up because I knew that uh, I can't delete the master file, okay, from the main server. So it can prove to be very harmful. So that is what my word on self plagiarism is. Please do remember that thing, that avoid using any type of anti plagiarism software, any type of, which paid unpaid doesn't matter, which doesn't allow you to delete the file from its storage. Okay, okay, so you can commit submission fraud. You can keep it on to different journals. Okay, that, and you declare it also that it has not been sent. Many authors do this, and because what is the logic they give? They give a simple logic that, sir, uh, the acceptance time of the journal is very high. Okay, so after 6 months, if they tell me that they are not accepting my paper, what should I do? I would be losing on 6 months. So what I do, I send it to multiple things. Now what the problem is that you can submit it to multiple things, right, wrong, that is a different idea. Let me give a practical idea to it. What if both of these journals, apply a plagiarism check on that thing? So, your paper is sitting already on one thing, and then simultaneously your paper is uploaded by someone else also. So again, you are, at a risk of running, at a risk of not only self plagiarism, but, different attributable plagiarisms. So, and remember that you are giving in writing that, see, way to avoid submission fraud is simple. By then that, many, say, journals, maybe UGC Care or even Scopus for that matter, they clearly tell you that, that say we have got all submissions full till a certain date, maybe 6 months down the line, maybe, a year down the line. If you are in so hurry to get it published, submit it somewhere else. Okay, submit it somewhere else. There you can always find out journals which can, they would obviously take good time to peer review and get back to you, but submit it some different place if you already know it. Okay, and many journals, they declare it on their website that, if you can only wait, or if you can email them and find out from them that, how much time on an average a manuscript can take with you. Please, second thing, there are certain, I would call them fraudsters. There are certain fraudsters going around in the market, and they tell that thing to you that, okay, if you have got a basic paper, send it to us. We would submit it in some good journal for you, and then we would take care of we would keep communicating with the editor. We would take care of that thing, that whatever changes the editor wants, we would do it and submit it on your behalf. We would keep doing this. Okay, and they would charge you some money, saying that, okay, you can give us, say, 50-60% of money in advance, and then after rest of the 50-40% once your submission is through, or once you obtain an acceptance from the journal. Okay, please don't believe in all such things. Okay, it's, you may be just losing your money. You may be just losing your money. So don't get into all such type of tricks. That is a serious thing to get into it, because you can't go and complain also, that these people took me money for this thing. And, think about it. If your college authorities, other people come to know about it, that, you have actually paid for something which is already unethical. Okay, because it's supposed that it's your paper, so you would be doing it, and you are not doing it. Okay, but obviously what you can do is that if you have presented a paper in conference, change it, improve over it, and submit it to on for a publication, which is allowed. Okay, which is good also. So UGC said it very clearly that, one one work, one credit. That is, if you figure out if you Google this, say, phrase, one submission or one work, one credit, you would get that understanding from UGC also, that what some people do, that they have worked it once, and then they keep tilting the topics, and then they do almost similar hypothesis, same data, almost similar discussion points, similar conclusions. So that is what they do it, try and do it smartly. That's what they call smart work in research these days, some people actually. So what they do is that, okay, see, you can argue with me that, okay, I have kept, say, I have collected data. Okay, and obviously whether it may be a PhD publication, or it may be just, you're collecting the data for PhD, or for for a paper, I always advise this to people, that collect one or two extra data. Okay, say for example, you may collect one or two extra demographic data. So say for example, from this paper you are doing it from an income perspective, the next paper you can do it from a gender perspective. Getting my point? So because next time you won't be able to collect that all data again from the similar respondents. So you can always collect that extra data from people, and then use that part of data. Okay, because then everything underlying would change. I hope you're getting my point. If I'm writing, say investment from income perspective, then my introduction to conclusion would include primarily idea on income and investment. If I'm talking about, say, gender and for example, gender and perspective, gender and investment perspective, then my entire paper, right from introduction to everything, would include that how gender, based on gender, other factors remaining same, based on gender, how things change. So that's what I'm saying, that, think about it. Okay, think about this idea that you are collecting more data and then you are using that data for different types of things. Okay, but it's strongly advisable, that don't try to maybe one or two data, because then you have to keep in mind the length of questionnaire also. So one or two data, and then you are putting it in differently, that is still okay. But don't try to just change the title a bit and submit it to some other publication just to get it published. Okay, with everything almost remaining the same. Okay, that is what I said. This is this would obviously amount to plagiarism. So again, Cope has classified as major and minor. Obviously major, as I told you, by changing the author of order or changing the title. You do some tricks with the title. You have said one thing, a study of, say, something something. Now you are saying that the income and investment, a perspective of, say, I say that in first spring, that a study of investment pattern in Indore city, say, for example. And then I change it to say that understanding investment from income perspective uh, in Madhya Pradesh, or in in the city of Madhya Pradesh, something like that. So I hope you are getting my point. I'm just trying to maneuver over with title. The rest things almost remaining the same. I change one or two orders in things, and then I put it almost into same thing. Okay. So minor offense is salami slicing. I would come to this thing. Okay, that what you do is that you say you mix two papers to produce a new paper. Okay, so that means salami size slicing means that you cut into pieces, and then you mix two pieces, or you publish those pieces. Okay, I hope you are getting my point. Okay, say you have already published a paper on, say, income and gender. Now you cut that paper into two with income different and gender different. That is what would amount to, or that is what is a salami slicing. Okay, so that is what is salami slicing for that matter. Okay, so that's what happens when you actually get onto it. That's what I was talking to you. That how does it happens? Self citations. Okay, what happens that people keep citing their own works, so that actually it increases their indexes. Okay, so that is where indexing happens, and that is where self cite is, so that it increases your citation number of times the paper is cited. So whether anyone is citing it or not, so they keep citing their own work. Okay, so if others are citing your work, no harm in that. All good journals will tell you that how many times this paper was cited. Okay, but in order to increase that number, people do self citations. So that is what we come on to, that every journal has this idea of who can be an author types. Okay, so please remember with this idea that who can be an author, in the sense that please think about it. Let me give you a different idea altogether. Forget about the journal. Some people, they write say you might have some area of specialization in your post graduation. Okay, please stay back with some area at least. Okay, don't write a paper in marketing, then in finance, then in HR, then in operations, then in supply chain. You have got papers everywhere. If you are a guide, that becomes very easy. I'm really sorry, please don't mind me saying this, because whatever your scholar would be publishing, by default, first, second, or third author would be your name. Okay, I'm sorry again to say this. At times, guides actually want this to happen. Okay. So, you keep on increasing number of papers types. So please understand this thing that at some point of time it would hurt you very badly. If you set in some actual interview, this is gonna hurt you very badly. That people would be asking you this thing that okay, you have done this paper in HR, then in finance. So what is your area of specialization then? So why have you, wanting to do a paper in, say, if I specialize in HR, then what I'm doing talking about branding and things. See, if I'm talking employee branding, okay, good. What if I'm talking about a certain, service brand or certain product brand, something like that? That may not be good. That's what I'm saying. That at point in time, please understand this thing that at least at some point refrain from taking, getting just into numbers. Okay, numbers may be a criteria for API and many things. Okay, but work your way of getting it rather than getting into all everything that is available to you on the on the face of earth types. At times, it may be a conflict of interest, not always. Okay, even as a reviewer, also we have to declare many many journals want us to declare that if there is any conflict of interest. Okay, so please understand this thing. As I was telling you that what Vivek sir asked me a question that at times you have to you may be in conflict of interest, that your friend is actually the company is actually sponsoring your research. Or what if I give you a bigger problem that this to think about? What if the respondents think that you are being sponsored by someone? Okay, say it usually happen when you are doing some labor based or some employee based research, and the people feel that you are sponsored by the company when you may be doing it actually individually. Some of your questions are so provocative, or some of your questions are indicative that you are you are an agency appointed by the company. So as soon as people get this feel, even if you are not, even if you are not, okay, so tell them very clearly that if you get to learn this, see, if you are collecting a bigger data, especially in case of PhD, if you are collecting a bigger data, you would get those vibes. I'm not saying those those auras and vibes. No, you would get to hear it from some people that why your respondents are shying away from responding. If you are said if your PhD would be mostly done in a specific area. So is that something that especially I come on to this thing, if you're doing something with employees, laborers, anything like that. So they quickly catch up that idea that your research is indicative of something and that is being sponsored by HR manager, or some employers seen you sitting in the HR manager's cabin and then you go and talk to them that okay, I'm an independent researcher, and forget about it, nobody would be believing. That's what I'm saying, that at times it may be a direct or indirect influence, not exactly a conflict, but influence of that thing that you may or people may create onto your research. And this conflict of interest may lead to certain types of, a bigger conflict of interest may lead to certain types of falsification or fabrication of data. Okay. So please be, when it comes to, say, industry based research or industry funding a research, if you have got a face of it, you should be actually, very, what should I say? You should be actually very cautious if you are using certain type of funding from that. If you're funded it from an independent source, or even a consortium type of things, or say if you are doing some research for industry wherein uh, say industry wants to independently collect that data. Say for example, industry wants to do certain CSR activity and they want to know actually that who should be the beneficiary. Okay, so you can just, before CSR been implemented, you are just going to tell them. But what if, think about this question, what if the company wants to know that what has been, the impact of CSR activity? Okay. So what if you go and tell them that, the impact has been very low? Again, the same question which me and Vivek sir were discussing about it. Yes, Vivek sir, please go ahead.
Sir, at the point of view at the point of view interview, as you discussed the before, sir, my question is from you that in PG classes, most
Hmm.
probably they are giving us 3 to 4 subjects for teaching point of view. At the
Yep,
time of if we are sitting at the interview and our paper is published in the 3 zones, suppose HR, entrepreneurship development, and one more. So, what is the impact? As you told that we should always do on the vertical of single area. So, sir,
agreed.
what is your viewpoint if you are sitting in an interview? So, what is
Okay,
but the best reply for that? Either we
okay,
will go for that or not. My question
okay.
is this.
Okay, Vivek sir, very, very simple answer. You can always talk about this idea. See, sir, super specialization. I'm talking it on a public forum. Super specialization is allowed to the faculties only in given handful institutions. Okay, rest in all institution, you need to be, jack of all trades types.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
let's accept this practically. Okay, one, two. You can always talk about that. Say you come from HR and general management, okay, or what you call a generalist in HR. So a generalist in HR would mean that, okay, you have tried, you have been teaching subjects like this and this, okay. But extremely, I would suggest you, Vivek sir, that you know say for example, you come from a field of human resources, okay, and then you are teaching supply chain management, okay. Refrain yourself from publishing in supply chain, because that's something which is an institutional idea for you. Please try and get my point, that institution wants you to teach supply chain for some reasons, okay. Go ahead and teach that. I'm not saying that you should not do that. Go ahead and teach that, but try and stay back. Say you can talk, even if say if, and say you may ask me a second question, sir, what if the institution wants me to publish something in supply chain? Pick up your idea from that thing, that how uh, say you integrate human resource on that thing, that how people are important in supply chain, okay, or how technology in supply chain impacts the people who are actually working on it, okay. So that's how, a combination of this area, you would find that you would be able to justify yourself. I hope I have answered you, Vivek sir.
Right, sir. Yes.
Okay. I have someone
Thanks, sir.
more hand raised. Yes, please speak. Someone has hand raised as well. Is it raised by accident, or you actually want to speak something? So, is anyone looking forward to speak? Okay, someone's, it's been, mic is accidentally open. So please keep it on mute so that we continue. If you're not intending to ask a question, may I request Team RFI to please mute all the participants? Then I would again switch on my mic. Team RFI, प्लीज आप सबका माइक म्यूट कर दीजिए, मैं वापस से स्विच ऑन कर लेता हूँ अपना माइक. आई थिंक किसी का गलती से ओपन हो गया है. थैंक यू वेरी मच. ओके. So at times it does happens that that there may be conflict of interest, direct or indirect conflict of interest, okay. So if there is actually a conflict of interest, then you should refrain from that thing, okay, especially if you are at a reviewer's position, okay. See, as a blind reviewer, we don't know who has written this paper, okay. But if you are into a slightest knowledge of it, please refrain from using this thing, okay. Now, before I move on to the last part of my thing, only once a small idea to everyone. Am I dealing with some reviewers in the group? Or tomorrow, if you become a reviewer, only one piece of, small advice. You may, by the virtue of reviewer, or by the virtue of being a reviewer, you may be, having an access to various papers. Okay, you may have, by the virtue of being reviewer, access to various papers. Okay, which may come to you for review. This gives you an open opportunity to change the paper and use it in your name. I hope you are getting what I am trying to indicate you. Okay, with some sort of changes, you can make it as appear as your own paper in some other journal. Please refrain from that. Strongly advisable. Please don't engage. See, when you talk about ethics, remember only one thing. Please stay away from what should I say? Please stay away from any type of temptations. If you actually are talking about ethics in any field, please stay away from any type of temptation. That is the must, or that is the thing that you should be doing. Okay, so fairly simple how to minimize plagiarism or how to avoid plagiarism. We can't avoid, but how to minimize the plagiarism. Okay, first advice is always golden, that don't try to plagiarize. Okay, intentionally or unintentionally. Okay, so whatever, see, if you want to, so some people that say if you want to use certain, say, what should I say, if you actually want to use something, the content which is not yours type. Okay, say you are using a definition, you want to use a quote, please you put it in inverted marks. So almost all softwares, including Turnitin, I am very sure of, would understand that this is a content that they don't have to look into. Okay, so the idea is that put it in inverted and do a left intent. Okay, so these two things would tell the plagiarism software that this is you have used it as it is. Now the trick is that when you use it, please put a reference to it. Okay, in many of the papers, when people use quotes, they don't reference it, they just write the name of the, say, or the name of the person who might have given the quote. No, please, you have not listened it from the person, no? No, you're using a quote of Mahatma Gandhi ji or anyone, for example. You are not said you listened it from the source, no? So it's always, even if you have listened it from the source, then refer to it as uh, okay, so give a reference to it. Okay, there are ways and means to refer everything. So you might have picked up from some website or something, so please mention it the way it is cited into that thing. So please use a reference to it. Okay, avoid any type of paraphrasing. People tell me that, sir, I picked it from website, then I wrote it on my own, and then I'm putting it. Why should I use the reference? I talk about referencing, this is the idea which I have dealt even right from students on international platforms also, that people ask me this question, that I read from it. Okay, then wrote it in my own language, then why I should reference it? Okay, because that is not your idea now. That has been a general idea. No, this idea is not yours. Okay, so even avoid that. That's what my point here says. That even avoid any type of idea plagiarism. That was not your idea at the first place. Please understand. Reading from different websites and things, doing things does not make it, a free of thing type of thing. Don't try to, people at times what they do, I tell you, what they do is that they put in a paragraph from some, they copy paste that thing, and then they use synonyms to change that paragraph. No, that is a wrong practice. What you can do is that you have read it from that thing, and then even if you are using, say, a phrase, or for sure data, all data must 100% must be given as a reference only. If you are making a statement, people say that, sir, I have not used this data, I'm just saying that, okay, India is a growing country. This is an assertion. Please understand this thing. Even if you are using an assertion, then also it is a fact. Please reference it. Data doesn't only mean that India is the second most thing or fourth most thing, fifth in that thing, sixth in that thing, first in that thing. No. Even if you're using an assertive statement, please reference it. Because that assertion doesn't come from you. No. You might have read somewhere on the basis of data you are making that reference. See, it is not a problem. Then people come and tell me that, sir, if I give so many references, then what is the originality of my thought? The originality of your thought would be not in the data, that would be in the interpretation from the data. Please understand this thing. The originality of your contribution, people tell me that, sir, if I give reference for all things that I have put in, okay, you are even, wanting me to reference even a word if I have taken from, say, from any author, you are wanting me to even reference a phrase also, then I would be questioned. My guide would question me that, what is your originality? Your originality, remember, would be in the discussion and inferences that you draw from it. Okay, that is your idea. That is your brain. Okay, use that very wisely. Don't try to copy paste from things. See, we have got a bad habit of Googling everything. Okay, please avoid it. That would somehow, lessen your mental capacities. You're mentally very capable people. So it think about it first. If you are not able to see, you don't Google your practical problems of life, no? Okay. So you don't Google every time that this has happened, what should I do? Okay, I've not taken attendance in class, what should I do? Okay. So Google may not have all answers to all your variables, you know? So that's what I'm asking. Don't try to Google everything. Before you Google, sit down. It's your data, it's your work. You can always take out reference from it. And credit giving doesn't make that you are, this is, again, this is not my work. It's all others' work. I'm just trying to give credit to everyone. You have to, because that is not your, done. I already explained my 2 points that, be very careful with anti-plagiarism software checks, especially if they are free of cost types. Even if they are not free, please understand one situation: are they allowing you to delete the file? And as I told you, starting my point was this: that understand that what percentage is allowed and what is the interpretation of that percentage. Okay, so if you want to, as a responsible publication, please look into that thing, that your research is actually reliable. Okay, you have done it with honesty. Okay, you have tried to balance various variables which are included into it. Please avoid any type of biasness. Don't be, just moved by one fact that, this doesn't happen. Okay, see, let's move away from this idea that, certain factors are pro employee, certain factors are anti management. No, all management is not there to cheat employees. All management does not have the intention, just to say, take away the rights of the employee or to underpay them or to, maneuver them. No, that may be only one point of looking. Okay, try and understand the story behind it. Okay, obviously, as I told you, your work may be inspired from something, but then you are, based on that inspiration, you have tried and developed your own ideas onto it. And you can, obviously you can. So, and why you should be, valuing that originality. When you go into class, I keep telling this to all my fellow people: if you have actually done some work, most of your examples would be from your work which you have already done, which you already published or something like that. So, people say would be reading your case studies in the class. Okay, even in other classes also, people would be doing your work, people would be citing your work. That is where the originality, you would feel happy about it, that students are actually, uh, seeing from that perspective, that, he brings in practical live examples to the class, which are not, read from somewhere from Google or somewhere from, say, a certain business magazine. That is one part of the entire story. No, he has actually gone in market, he has actually researched over it, he has actually written a paper over it, and he's saying from what he has experienced. Okay, please understand, please remember this thing. This would actually, make people listen to you. Okay, and understand, the more credit you give, the less trouble it would be for you. And please see that if you are, actually, uh, as I would put it again, that if you can author such type of paper. I come from a management perspective. What is there in for engineering in me? Nothing. Okay. So just to, increase the number of papers, I can, I should not pick up an engineering topic per se. Okay. I'm not, eligible for that. Okay. You may say that, sir, that is how, it is, and these things like, please don't stay away from this. At some point of time, you should understand this thing, that this thing is not your cup of tea. You are not meant for everything. Okay. It's not about area of specialization. Please. You may not be questioned by anyone anytime. Okay. Nobody would look into your what you do, what you don't do types. It's just, you have been publishing. But that's what my question is. What would you do with such credits? Nothing. Okay. I would be teaching management for the rest of my life. That is what I believe. Okay. Or any allied subject on that thing. I wouldn't be any time. I don't see that, in any point in time in my life, I would be teaching, say, engineering subjects. Why I'm picking up that thing? God knows. Okay. You are on a larger side, you're responsible. Why you're responsible? Because, you know, at some point of time, people would be reading some research in some, some corner of this world. People are actually reading your research. Okay. They're actually reading your research. If you put it on ResearchGate or many other platforms, Google Scholar or many other platforms, when you try and increase your indexing, people would be actually reading your research. There are some actual researchers, okay, serious researchers. So it becomes your responsibility of that thing. Whatever the publication conventions are of the journal specifically, please adhere to that. And you should be very responsible. As I told you, obtain a consent which is free in nature. Disclose them that what is that your data would be used for. Okay. uh, at times, during my course of PhD in labor, at times people tell me, sir, if I give you the real data on, what is the flight of the worker, or what is the actual treatment of industry and worker, what would I gain back from it? Okay. So, and if you just try and say that, okay, no, it is just for an academic purpose, then he said, "No, okay, I may not be interested, then you can just take it, the data. Okay. Because if I tell you my story and nothing comes after the story, no action is taken out from the story, and then why I should trust you that something would happen? Okay. So that's what I'm saying. That tell people clearly that it is not. Then it let be it their choice, that do they want to share the data, they don't want to share the data, they don't want to talk to you, they don't want to talk to you. Tell them your real intent. Okay. That this is what your intent is, this is what it is. Okay. Largely you can say that, okay, once it is published, then, say you would be sending it to some government people and something like that. Then they may ask that, okay, would my name be going into that research? Then I see in many research forms that they ask for names of the people, okay, of the respondent and other, personal identity to establish that they have, you are you obtained this data right or in a righteous way. So if say suppose tomorrow somebody questions you that this is not the real data, then how would you prove it? Would you give them those names? Would you disclose their names in any situations? You should not. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So please be on to that thing. And obviously, they have their own guidelines. Stay back with those guidelines. In our case, it is UGC. In others' case, it may be largely a COPE guidelines, journal-based specific guidelines. Do that, and you would find that things are done better. So I have already exceeded my time by 5 minutes. Uh, so that's all from my side. Any questions if anyone wants to ask?
Uh, Sir, good evening,
Sir,
sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Uh, I don't have any question, but during one of my workshop,
Yep.
uh, the faculty was interacting, and he gave a very good idea if you want to
Mm-hmm.
avoid plagiarism.
Okay.
Instead of typing on the computer, write it on a paper, like copy. You make a register and start writing. When you write
Subramanian
from
sir,
the
just to add to it, I still write my papers the same way.
that's what I'm telling, that since the computer laptop has come, people have stopped writing. uh, we will have two advantages: that our writing will also improve, and our heart out words will come, which will be devoid of plagiarism.
Yes, sir. With all due respect to you, my handwriting hasn't improved, but yes, I believe in the second idea that when you actually we come from that generation where pen and paper was the most common thing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, no, taking it on a larger sense, if you still receive a letter, a written letter from someone, that is so rare these days. But still, if you receive a written letter from something, you actually that touches your heart. So, because you write it with your thing, you're not getting suggestions for what to write. Okay,
even
with
even
such,
even if we are reviewing some literatures and
yes,
we understand that and how it is useful for our paper, if we start writing on a paper, it comes
yes,
out
absolutely,
automatically.
absolutely, and yes, sir, I have done my entire PhD in this format.
Now I have done my PhD also in the same format, sir.
So that's always perfectly suggested. Whomsoever has talked about it, it's a, that I strongly believe still in that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, yes, sir, for sharing this. Okay, anyone else? Vivek sir, I believe you were saying something, or
Sir,
anyone else? Yes, yes,
yes,
Vivek sir, please go ahead.
sir. First of my request to you, it is not any implementation, but it is request to you that you have very sound profile in the stream of entrepreneurship development. Sir, in future, if there is any FDP recognized by RFI, so let us inform for that.
Sure, sure, done, absolutely done, Vivek sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, my next question is this:
Yes,
that
yes,
sir,
please.
as the point of view, free software for plagiarism, which
Yeah,
software is reliable most of the reliability point of view? Because I am aware about that no software, none of software is reliable, but we are using the free software. So, what do you have to suggest?
Vivek sir, I would strongly suggest that ask to the software people directly that would you allow me to delete. See, free softwares are they deal with you on two levels. One, they restrict the number of pages or number of words. Okay, that they will checking this, that say for first 1,000 words are free for you, and if you or say first two pages are free for you, and anything that comes after that thing is chargeable. That is one way this plagiarism software works in. If there are so my only idea is to Vivek sir, which I repeatedly told you, that please make sure that this is you are using, please try and avoid using any free softwares, because for the just for the sake that you know they don't allow you to delete their master from their master servers, okay, or their master folders, and you would run at a huge risk of getting self plagiarized.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
And as a last measure, I would also suggest you one thing. Out of my topic, just it came to my mind. Out of my topic, I'm suggesting to all the research scholars who are listening to me, the PhD research scholars, please do not publish. And as a distant thought, I'm telling you, please do not publish your anything from your PhD. Okay, not your objectives, not your data, nothing, unless and until you are awarded PhD on that topic. Okay, please do not publish that topic anywhere else, or any objectives, any data, even as I told you an example of salami slicing, not cut into pieces and do that, unless and until you are you are awarded PhD onto that. You may ask me question that what would happen that sir, I have been asked to say publish two papers related to that topic. Good enough. Pick up the language of objectives, everything. Keep it simple, okay, but keep it on a different note. Okay, similar to PhD but on a different note. Please do not try to many people find it that okay, I would use the similar thing because you know why should I work hard, कौन इतनी वापस से मेहनत करेगा types. Okay, why I should be working hard for this thing? I should, be using the similar topic. Let me adopt that thing. Please don't do this mistake. Okay. So that is just one point which came to me. Avoid doing that. Okay. Any further thing, or shall we close this session?
Sir, if possible, post your number.
Okay. Here you go. So I'm writing it in my chat.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone? Or Saloni ma'am, are you here? Shall we close the session?
Yeah, yeah,
I
sure, sir.
already I already exceeded my time. So before I close my session, a heartfelt thanks to everyone who has, being a part of this entire. I understand, and I keep telling you right from day one that I appreciate, and I have got a huge respect for everyone who is attending this FDP. After in the evening time, I find it, it's actually very difficult working for the entire day and then attending programs like this. Some people are seriously interested into their what should I say, their self development. Okay, and that shows your commitment for that. So thank you very much, RFI, for giving me this platform to interact with my colleagues from different parts of the country. Ajay Jain sir, especially Saloni ma'am, for conducting this wonderful session, and all my colleagues. Have a very good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for an enriching and insightful session. It was truly wonderful and informative. And I extend my warmest thanks to each one of you for being a part of this journaling practices. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Saloni ma'am. Thank you, everyone.